Look, I mean, I'm a single founder. I'm a first-time founder. There's a lot of things that I need to actually learn, and I don't have ego. If I don't know something, I'll say I don't know something, and I'll ask for help, right? So when we pick investors, we've been always try to get a little bit of sense, do a ref check, background check on them to their portfolios as well.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. E-commerce native brands are on the rise, and a question that we often get is how do we build a lasting brand? I'm Carissa, part of the investment team at Jungle, and we are here to talk about building and scaling e-commerce brands in Asia. Who best to answer everything e-commerce native brand related other than Achmad Alkatiri, the founder of Hypefast, Southeast Asia's largest house of e-commerce native brands. Ahmad, or Mad as we call him, is a veteran in the e-commerce space, having served time as not only the first Indonesian CMO of Lazada Group, but also the youngest. It's no wonder you've managed to attract a host of investors, and no small feat, obviously. And you've obviously spoken to hundreds of investors in order to achieve that. What was most important for you when picking the right partners?
So we've raised 22 million so far. For past 12 years. I think when we pick or we decided to kind of work with the investors. Usually, for us, our approach or my approach is that valuations and the ticket size, the round size, and everything is I would say number 2 or number 3 factors for me. Because I mean we're not just building a scalable business, right? But we're building a profitable business. Hypefast has been profitable. So which is why the priority of having investors or having a partners on our cap table, to kind of those investors that can really bring a value in a more of concrete way of spending time with me. Look, I mean, I'm a single founder. I'm a first-time founder. There's a lot of things that I need to actually learn, and I don't have ego. If I don't know something, I'll say I don't know something, and I'll ask for help, right? So when we pick investors, we've been always try to get a little bit of sense, do a ref check, background check on them to their portfolios as well. We have a very good potential to becoming one of the biggest in Southeast. We are the biggest in Southeast Asia at this point, and want to continue to actually make it bigger. I mean, as a founders, you always have a lot of crazy ideas in your head, but sometimes it's it's not always a good thing for a business. It could be distractions as well, and the partners need to always reminding me that as well. So I think to for short answers for that, I would say we're looking for partners that willing to really sit side by side with us and really kind of be spend more time with us on the business and see and help us to push to the next level.
And no doubt you'll be the biggest in Southeast Asia. We have no doubt about that. And you've literally achieved the impossible, being profitable at such a young age, right? Was being a profitable startup always your goal from the start, and why was it so important for you?
Come from my background is growth, right? So I managed millions of marketing dollars on my previous roles. At some point, when you burn a lot of money, and it's okay, if it's burned for growth and stuff, but you will be questioning yourself whether that how this will last. So when I when I was thinking to do my own company, I made a promise to myself that we shouldn't only build a scalable business, but also needs to be disciplined on the profitability of the businesses. This is where the real money. And for me, this is not binary. It's not can you be profitable or can you be scalable? But it can be both. And we prove that, right? I think we're right now one of the fastest growth startups and the largest in Southeast Asia as well in terms of in this space. And we reached that by maintaining and our disciplines on the profitability of the companies, and we will always continue to do that. We're not a big believer of just spend billions of marketing dollars to kind of grow the business, etc. Our marketing to kind of our revenue ratio is actually on the single digits percentage, and it's something that we want to always keep.
What were your initial challenges when finding product market fit for Hypefast in the initial days?
So I think we were the very first mover in the market, right? When we established the business, the concept of brand aggregators, house of brands is pretty new. I mean, there's a lot of e-commerce enablers back there, but those companies that do what we do, it wasn't exist back then. So I think the biggest challenge at that time was to really have a little bit of better sense to partner or to acquire the best potential brands in the market. But I think we did that quite well. We're screening off the market using a couple of ways of things that we do, from their ratings. We have a lot of amazing interviews and conversations with the brand founders to find what type of the brand founders that we want to work with, the type of products.
Maybe if you could talk about your talent and culture strategy in Hypefast, that would be great. And also, why is it so important for Hypefast's growth?
Since the very beginnings, we established the company, right? Becoming the best place to work is something that becoming our priority missions since the very beginning. In a way, don't care about peoples and stuff, but we're a bit different from that. For us, what's the most important for us is actually build a company that people want to work. That's have been always our focus, because you're not joining not only a company to do what you do as a and then you're just becoming a machine, but you need to really believe on what we do. I would say be a very proactive together with me, together with the entire management teams to solve the problems, because we know for sure there's a really a real problem in the market. There's a gap. These brands that we partner with has amazing potentials to grow into 50 million, 100 million US revenue businesses, but we need to help them. There's a clear problems in the market for that. It's okay to make mistakes, and what we shouldn't do is we should not fear to lose, right? That's the mindset that we have been trying to actually implement here in the company. We always try to actually have a mindset for people is that by default we trust people, right? We don't chain them into their desk and do a kind of check in every 2 hours on how they do that and stuff like that. And if you see a lot of team members that we have, then take it as a very high ownership kind of approach. For whatever that they do, they will actively looking for the best solutions for whatever the problems that they're working on, and continually to see what's next, what's the best next stage for the company or the businesses, what we can do better and improvements and stuff like that.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That was Matt from Hypefast, one of our fastest growing portfolio companies in Jungle Ventures. Please like, subscribe, and tune in for more amazing videos to come.